What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode here, the Side Guys Football Forum. I'm one of your co-hosts, I'm the Side, joined as always by my good friend, my good buddy, the other half of the Side Guys, Tad the Side. And Tad, depending on when you're listening to us, we are officially in draft week. Because, I mean, it's like some people count Sunday, which is technically the beginning of the week. Some people are like, nah, it doesn't really count until you hit Monday. So, depending on when you're listening to us, we are officially in draft week. And, I mean, Tad, before you know it, the draft will be over too, and we'll already be thinking about next year's draft and possible prospects with that. But I mean, it's exciting times these next couple of days as far as just like, any last minute rumors that may surface, potential trades, whatever it is. I don't think we'll get any action, but just like the rumor mill will definitely start churning and burning quite a bit these next couple of days. So it's exciting times during draft week.
And I love so much. You see what Bill Belichick revealed on Pat McAfee's show?
Yeah, the stuff with Christian Gonzalez, right?
Well, not just that, but the fact that he was like, yeah, everything that's coming out now, those are the agents. And he was like, everything that comes out the day before the draft, those are the teams. So I'm like,
yeah, I like non-head coach Bill Belichick. This is the fun.
He's a lot of fun. This is going to be enjoyable.
Yeah, when I heard the news of him doing the draft like cast or whatever with Pat McAfee, I was like, oh, this is going to be intriguing.
Bill, we were available, man. Got the live team, like, come on.
Yeah, so that should be fun. I may have to like record that or watch it on demand because, as you know, people, we're going to be doing our draft live stream. So, I mean, as much fun as that sounds, make sure you're tuning in to our draft live cast that's going to be happening both on day one as well as day two. You'll have me, you'll have Tad, and who knows, we'll have a plethora of other guests from LAFB Network that will be joining us to join in all the fun. Both the Chargers and Rams have first round picks. Rams for the first time in quite some time. So
and Chargers top 10.
Chargers top 5 because they're right at number 5.
True.
So yeah, there should be some excitement as far as what's happening there. So yeah, lots of good stuff.
Not to do mock drafts because that's coming out in a couple days. Our final mock draft is coming out in a couple
final
days.
Episode before the live stream. Yep, exactly.
Do the Chargers stay at number 5?
I think they do.
Ooh, you willing to bet on it?
Yeah, we can figure that out afterwards.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, so yeah, should be a lot of fun, guys. Make sure you tune in for the live stream. We'll be promoting it all week. Tad will be on top of that for sure. And so yeah, make sure you tune into it. And yeah, comment as you're watching. Obviously, we'd love to get your instant reactions as things are happening. Why do you think this player is sliding? What do you think my team is going to do? Like, I mean, please interact with us. We'll give you our answers and our analysis live as it's all happening. Even if you can't tune in for the full 3 hours, check it out. It should be a ton of fun. And you know what else is fun, Tad? Betting with our good friends at Underdog Fantasy, because I mean, they have been such wonderful sponsors with us for the past handful of months. And I mean, yeah, like we talked about, I'm pretty sure within the next couple of days, we'll see some NFL draft props up on their betting platform. But in the meantime, the NBA playoffs, depending on when you're listening to us as of recording, the NBA playoffs have started today, the actual playoffs. We got the hockey playoffs, the NHL playoffs have started as well. We already talked about MLB is full of their season as well. So there'll be tons of things you can be betting on. So yeah, Underdog Fantasy wants you to get into the action. They gave us a promo code that we want to share with you. That promo code is DESAI, DESAI. And you with that promo code, you can double up on your initial deposit of $10 or more up to $500, courtesy of our good friends at Underdog Fantasy. So I mean, if you were to hypothetically put in that max $500 on your first deposit, only the first one, unfortunately, Underdog Fantasy will match that dollar for dollar, and you can bet with up to $1,000 on their betting platform. It's so exciting. I can't even get my words out.
I was about to say, Donald's. You can get Donald Duck. You know what? Even better. You can get Donald Duck. What is his uncle? Scrooge McDuck diving into the
They're brothers. Yeah,
gold.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that are they brothers? Really?
Well, yeah, because he's Uncle Donald, like Huey, Dewey, and Louie. It's Uncle Scrooge McDuck too.
Yeah, I never put two and two together. How about that? Yeah. But if you want to be a Scrooge McDuck, diving in that vault of gold, Underdog is how you do it, especially with that promo code right below. Decide. That is D as in David, E, S as in Sam, A, I. Shout out to my mom.
Exactly. So, guys, get into the action. A lot of things you can be betting on, and a lot of things in the future you can be betting on. So, use the platform. You can use the website. You can use their mobile device applications as well on Apple devices as well as Android. So, either way you do it, it's a really intuitive platform, really easy to get into. So, use that promo code DESAI, DESAI, to double up on your deposit of $10 or more, up to $500, courtesy of our good friends at Underdog Fantasy. So, Tad, this is the last episode before we do our mock draft episode, which will be the last episode before the live stream. So we wanted to get into some fun here with sort of like, some draft quick hit sort of things here. So yeah, we're going to dust off an old segment of ours, and we're going to be hitting you guys with a fun segment that we call NFL Draft Quick Hits.
Cue the music.
All right, so let's get into our first topic here, Tad. We got a couple teams here that have multiple first-round picks. Now, there's a rumor, obviously, with Minnesota acquiring that second first-round pick, that they may be looking to move up. But hey, just in case, maybe they decide that they want to stick and pick there. But we do got a couple other teams. We got the Chicago Bears also with 2 top 10 picks on top of that, and then we also have the Arizona Cardinals with 2 first-round picks as well. So really quickly, we want to go through some potential strategies that these 3 teams may employ with their multiple first-round picks. So, Tad, let's start at the top here. Let's go with the Chicago Bears. What do you think they do with their 2 first-round picks? One at number 1 overall, like probably pretty obvious with that one. But the interesting one will be that number 9 overall pick to see what they do there. So, what do you think they do?
All right, at number 1, let's just address this for both of us. You ready? We're finally gonna do it, buddy. We're finally gonna do it. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
I don't.
Not with that attitude. It's not gonna happen. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Tory Taylor
Williams. You and your that I can't anymore. I really can't. Like it's just
oh, it never gets old.
In your eyes, it never gets old. For me, it's been old and dead, like a mummy in a tomb. Like that is how old and dead it is.
Oh my god, I literally cry every time I make that joke. Oh man. Okay, let me wipe away the tears for a second. These are real tears, by the way. Oh, God. Such a good joke. Tory Taylor should be drafted, though. I'm planting my flag in that. Oh, man. All right. But, yes, obviously, number 1 overall is Caleb Williams. Let's go to number 9. So, with number 9, look, I was talking with my friend Matt about this the other day, and I think I kind of agree with his take where it's either tackle, edge rusher, or we move on. And I kind of agree with that, is they've solidified the wide receiver room enough to the point where it's not necessary. Now, with that said, I wouldn't blame the Bears if, Odunze or if Malik Nabers was there. If they wouldn't go that route, I understand it. Because, it's Keenan Allen. You can't count on him for an entire year. Plus, that's a very good mentor to have for one of those 2 guys. So, if they go the wide receiver route, I 100% understand that. I think edge rusher is the way to go, especially because Jared Verse is still there. I'm trying to think. Oh my god, why am I'm so busy scouting offensive linemen that I'm blanking on edge rushers at that point. But Dallas Turner might still be there at that point.
Could be, yeah. Mm-hmm.
If the Falcons don't take him at 8, I think there's no way the Bears pass him at 9. So I think that adding a additional pass rush to number opposite of Montez Sweat is the way to go if I'm the Bears. But also, I think that this is the first big trade we're going to see in the NFL draft. I think that the Vikings could trade up for JJ McCarthy. Feel like everyone's kind of seen that coming. So I think the first real wild card holy shit trade could come at number 9 with the Bears. So if I'm the Bears, I'm actually trading back, because if you look at next year's draft stock, they only have 4 picks next year. One of those being a 4th round pick if Justin Fields plays 51% or more of snaps for Pittsburgh. I don't know about you, Murr. I don't think that's going to happen. So if that doesn't happen, it diverts to a 6th round pick. So the Bears draft stock next year is very, very weak. So if I'm the Bears GM, I'm saying, if I get a good offer, I'm taking it to kind of keep stocking up like that. And trust me, there are going to be plenty of teams calling, including my Indianapolis Colts, who, from recent reports, are looking to trade up.
Yeah, no, I don't really have any sort of disagreement with all that you laid out. Yeah, number 1 overall pick, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Caleb Williams. I really don't see it going any other direction. But yeah, number 9, I can I really doubt it. And number 9, I can 100% see them going pass rush. I can 100% see them going with wide receiver because, yeah, like you said, Keenan Allen, he also is getting up there in years. So even if he is able to stay healthy, which has also obviously been an issue with him the past couple of seasons, it's like good to have that next guy being brought up in that system with DJ Moore, obviously, and some of the other guys that they have on that roster. So I could see that being a potential option there as well. But yeah, I'm very much leaning on the Jared Verse route. I think Dallas Turner, it's pretty much like an unknown secret that everybody is mocking Dallas Turner.
I say it every year. There's one draft pick everyone knows that's going to happen. It's Dallas Turner in Atlanta.
Exactly. But yes, 100% if perchance the Falcons, maybe they decide to trade down or they go in a different direction. If Dallas Turner is there at number 9, that is a absolute home run pick by the Bears as well. But yeah, I think they lean more that edge rusher route. And so yeah, Dallas Turner, Jared Verse, possibly Latu out of UCLA. Those could be the 3 options there. But yeah, I'm leaning more towards Jared Verse could be the option there. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they decide to go Rome Odunze, maybe Malik Nabers as well to upgrade that wide receiver position. Or yeah, very much I could see them trading down to get more trade capital, not only for this year's draft, but like you said, shoring up the cabinet.
Next year's draft is where they need a short. Yeah, exactly.
All right. So the Bears are not as exciting when it comes to strategy here. It's pretty obvious what they're going to do. Let's get to Arizona, which could be very interesting here. So they have the number 4 overall pick, and then they have the number 27 overall pick. So very similar with the Falcons, where it's like number 4, we're pretty much pegging that Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be a pick here, but there could be some sort of wild card because they're also a very crux position where we could see a trade out as well because they need a lot of help on their roster so they can shore up their draft capital this year, maybe a little bit next year, maybe get some players. I really don't know what it is, but just what do you think Arizona does with number 4 overall and then also number 27 overall?
Yeah, I think at number 4, exactly like what you laid out, it's going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. or it should be Marvin Harrison Jr. This is a team that drafts kind of weird though, and I'm going to touch on that in a bit.
It's true.
So yes, it should be Marvin Harrison Jr., but I don't know if it's going to be. And especially because, like you said, they just need help everywhere. Yeah, it's just this roster's so bad. It's a miracle they didn't wind up with the first overall pick. Well, miracle
I'm not complaining though,
except for Arizona, exactly. So I mean, it should be Marvin Harrison Jr., but I do think that there's a good chance that this is where things get crazy. It's true. If New England does not trade the number 3 pick and it goes as we expect, Caleb, probably Jaden, and then Drake, 1, 2, 3. This could be where things go nuts because Arizona's been, very open to trades given recent draft history. I mean, let's go back to last year where fuck you, Arizona, where Houston traded back into the top 5 to get Will Anderson. Fuck you, Arizona. And I will say that till my dying days or until Will Anderson is off that goddamn roster. But here's why it's so hard to predict Arizona is, okay, so even if they trade out at number 4, you expect them to go wide receiver or something like that. Do you remember who they traded back into the top 10 to get?
Yeah, they went Paris Johnson out of Ohio State.
He wasn't the top-rated tackle on almost anyone's list at that point. I remember us being like, oh, it must be Jalen Carter. I said that like 5 times during the commercial break after they made the trade. I remember seeing to this day, I don't know if it was the owner or the GM, but he was like patting the table, really happy. I'm like, oh, that's Jalen Carter reaction. Like they just got a very good defense tackle. No, they went for the 3rd best tackle on the board. So this management is interesting, I think is the nice way to say it. So they are the true wild card of 4, but I think that if they stay at 4, it will be Marvin Harrison Jr. Not even Arizona can fuck that up. But do not be surprised. This is where things really start going haywire, especially if the Vikings can't, convince New England to move off that 3 spot.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think 4 makes a lot of sense for the Vikings.
Okay, and then what do you think they do at 27?
This was tough. I spent way too much time on this because I'm like, I don't know anyone.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's almost a BPA situation, best player available. There's because like we talked about, Arizona needs a help across the board. So it's just like whoever's the best player at that time, it's like you can pretty much peg them there. So currently for me, I can see Jerzon Newton being a good fit for them. I already talked about Darius Robinson being a good fit as well. But yeah, I think Jerzon Newton, I think just the talent that he has to shore up the middle of their defensive line there, I think he'd be an excellent addition for the Arizona Cardinals. But yeah, like you said, it's you insert any player here, they'll be an upgrade over what they have currently in Arizona. So did you narrow down a name at least? So who do you think will be there? But yeah, like I said, it's BPA. It's 100% best player available.
100%. I think that's why, it's this kind of dream scenario for them, because I think this guy could be a good anchor for their offensive line, and that is at number 27. If he slips, they take Jackson Powers Johnson, the setter out of Oregon. Did I at least get his name right this time?
You finally got his name right. Yes. There you
go. There we go. So I think that would be just kind of a good leader for the offensive line going forward, because that offensive line is just not good. I mean, you got Will Hernandez. He's going to be 33 to start the season. And then you look at, the rest of the offensive line, there's no one to note there other than Paris Johnson, but fine. He's your anchor at tackle. Now you have an anchor in the interior offensive line. Now all of a sudden you have a building block to build around. I'll admit there's a little bit of personal bias going on there, because I'm a big believer that if you're rebuilding from nothing, which basically the Cardinals are, you gotta start with the offensive line. Line, like if I was a GM, I would just drive my fans would be so sick of me by year 3 if I was GM, because it would just be offensive line until I get it right. And so I just think that's the move to make. But yeah, interior offensive line, Newton's not a bad pick either. I considered an edge rusher at this point. Or another interesting thing, we talked about this a couple episodes ago, the cornerback market's going to be very interesting. So if there's a big time, if Cooper DeJean is still there
that's a great
at 27, I'd say go for him.
Yeah, that's fair. I think like you talked about.
Best player available. If I'm
I'm
the GM, I'm just sitting there like, who's number one? This guy. Yeah, I'd take him. Like, that's just not even just for number 27, the entire draft. Who's number one? Yeah, this guy. Yeah, just go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's very fair. All right, let's close this out with the last team here.
Arizona.
I'm not. Let's get to the last team here. The Minnesota Vikings, like we talked about, they acquired a second first-round pick, with the recent trade there. So, I mean, there's a possibility that they could leverage both of those first-round picks to move up to draft a JJ McCarthy or Drake May if he slides, whatever it is. Like, that's sort of like the, rumored there. Or maybe they just wanted the extra capital to sort of shore up their team there and keep both 11 as well as 23. But just, Tad, what do you think they do with both those first-round picks? Like, do you think they couple it into a trade, or do you think they stick and pick with both those picks?
I'm not entertaining this idea of well, maybe they'll keep up. No, they're not.
Okay.
No, they're not.
Right.
They're not. I'm not even gonna. No, they're just the trade. I don't know where it's gonna be. It could be 3, 4, 5, 2. I don't know. But they're gonna trade up. Who the fuck knows, man? Well, apparently Washington pissed off Jaden Daniels. You see that report?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So, all right. Now Washington may trade. I don't know. But it's clearly they made that move with Houston, or was it Houston, right? Correct?
Yeah, Houston.
God, that seems like a year ago. But point being,
quite a bit ago, yeah.
A lot of shit's gone down since then. But they made that move to move up. Like you and I said that the day of the trade.
It's true.
I'm just like this is a kind of a bouncing board to the ultimate trade. So I'm not even going to entertain the fact that they keep both these picks. They're not. So it's going to be for JJ McCarthy, because I do think the Patriots are going to sit still and take either Jaden Daniels or Drake May, whoever Washington doesn't take, which now may be Drake May. But if you want my ultimate prediction, the Vikings are going to use both these picks, trade up with the Giants, who don't really love anyone at number 5, after Marvin Harrison Jr. is taken. And I think the Giants are going to stockpile picks. I think the Vikings are
Chargers at 5.
Chargers at 5, excuse me. So I think Chargers are going to stay put.
Okay.
Giants at 6, trade out, stockpile picks.
Got it. Okay.
And the Vikings take McCarthy at 6.
Interesting. I can see that playing out. Now, I decided to entertain the idea that they keep both first-round picks here. So I think in a scenario here... I know it's most likely not going to happen, but I'm seeing it this way that I think there's going to be other teams that prioritize other positions except for quarterback. So I don't think there's going to be any sort of drastic trade into the top if it's not Minnesota. So I think in this situation, even if Minnesota stays at 11, that's where they get JJ McCarthy. So I think in this situation, I think, some other players will get drafted ahead of him. There's not going to be a crazy trade outside, like I said, of Minnesota trading up to potentially get JJ McCarthy. So they get him all the way there at 11. And then they're able to use that second pick in the first round, the number 23 overall pick that they got from Houston. This is where a good spot that, like we talked about, Cooper DeJean, if he's still available, I think you add to that sort of secondary there. Harrison Smith, I know they signed him to an extension, but he's getting up there in years. He's not going to be around forever. So you can put DeJean at safety, or they definitely could use some corner help as well. So that could be a good, versatile option for them to play wherever they need in that secondary for them. So that's how I can see things playing out with, if potentially Minnesota doesn't trade up, maybe they don't have to, and they can still let JJ McCarthy.
You think JJ McCarthy, quote unquote, starts slipping? Because I don't think he's worth the top 15 pick, honestly.
I don't think so either. I think we're both in agreement that he should be, but just, yeah.
Hold on, Captain Defensive.
Okay.
Hold on. Let's say McCarthy, no one trades up past number 6. The Giants don't take him. Because there are rumors that the Giants are interested.
Yeah,
so Giants pass on him. They take whoever the fuck, who cares. He starts falling past 6. You really think the Broncos and Raiders are going to sit on that and not try to jump ahead of the Vikings?
Part of me feels that way. Yeah, I don't think that they're going to
get
that crazy. Yeah, I think with the Raiders signing Gardner Minshew, I don't think they get that aggressive where they need to sort of make a trade up there. And based on, from our, boss man here, Ryan Dyrud, he's a Broncos fan, also covers obviously LAFB Network. He said that Denver doesn't seem to be in the market to trade up. Now, maybe they're being very secretive and they're not leaking anything and they will trade up, but I'm sort of taking that, obviously just sort of for legitimacy. That just like, yeah, outside of Minnesota, maybe there's not going to be another team that trades up there, but yeah,
they are bad teams
crazy.
For a reason.
Drafts are crazy. We always get some trade ups. Obviously, the quarterback is a premium position, so I can see that happening. But for me, I think in this scenario, if Minnesota doesn't trade up, then maybe no team does, and so they still land with JJ McCarthy there at 11. So we'll see how it all plays out. I mean, we're only a couple days away from it, so yeah, it's going to be fun to see how that all plays out. Now, let's get to the other side of the picture here, where it's like now we got teams with multiple first-round picks. Let's get to the other side where teams with no first-round picks. So teams with no first-round picks this year, we got the Carolina Panthers, we got the Cleveland Browns, and we got the Houston Texans. So let's start with let's start with the Carolina Panthers here. They're picking at number 33 overall and 39 overall. So both towards the top of the second round. So they can get some pretty good players at the top of the second. So what do you think their strategy is at the very top of the second round?
I think it's going to be receiver. It's just going to be best receiver off the board.
I agree.
And for me, I think I kind of went dream scenario. I feel so bad for Carolina, and I feel so bad for Bryce Young. I'm just like, let this happen for the love of God.
Sure.
And, but if it does, they should feel very happy. As I think they can land. If he's there, they should take Ladd McConkey, the wide receiver out of Georgia. And it's for multiple reasons that'd be a good pick. It's because first off, he's a very smart receiver. Like physically, he doesn't really jump out at you with anything he does particularly incredibly well, but he does everything good, if that makes sense. I put that horribly, but basically he does everything well. He doesn't do anything incredible, but he still finds space in the middle of the field because you can tell he watches tape and be like, oh, that linebacker likes to, play zone a little, towards the sideline. So if I just make that curl route a little towards the inside, it's just little things like that you very quickly catch on to watching his tape. And, this is not my pro comp for him, but they do share a lot of similarities. And this is why I love this pick so much, is because if he does go to Carolina, he has, first off, very little pressure on him, because who gives a shit about Carolina for the next 2 or 3 years. But also, it reminds me a lot of Adam Thielen. That's how
that's exactly it. As soon as you said that, I was like, he's landing in the perfect spot because he can learn from a guy who very similar skill set, Adam Thielen. That's just perfect, guy that you could sort of shadow and develop under. So yeah,
Adam Thielen does nothing physically all that spectacular. He just understands the game so well. It's like, no, Adam Thielen, and I swear I'm not doing the race thing here, but Adam Thielen and Cooper Kupp are kind of similar where they understand the game. Cooper Kupp's a way better route runner. He just has more crisp routes, but they both have the same strength of understanding how to, kind of make the most out of that game. Mm-hmm. And so I think that McConkey learning under Thielen would just be a dream come true for Carolina.
Yeah, I love that. So what do you think they do with their other second round pick then?
This one was interesting because I did not know he was arrested until I started reading this. But so, do you want to say something?
No, I was just gonna say, like, I saw this pick. I was like, really? So you just see the talent level? It's just
This
like,
is the thing, though. This is the thing.
I thought maybe you had some sort of hidden reason as to why you think he'll still go at the top of the second. So I was like, okay, let's hear him out.
Pure fit. So at number 39, I have the Carolina Panthers taking T'Vondre Sweat, the defensive tackle out of Texas. Now, before I get to his arrest, this guy is 6'4", 366 pounds, and Carolina runs a very pure, one of the very few teams left doing this, really, a very pure version of the 3-4 defense. Their nose tackle position is shallow as shit right now. Yeah. So that's why. That's the secret ingredient right there. And while people would be like, well, what the hell are they talking about? Sweat might have been arrested about like 3 weeks ago.
Might have been. He was.
Might have been for DWA. Might have been very, very guilty.
Yeah.
Might have been a dumbass.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyways,
you're hoping for a Laremy Tunsil thing with who? I don't remember who it was, but it's like, now you got it with T'Vondre Sweat.
I was not hoping. Whoa, hold on.
You were saying it with some prospect. You were like, we need some sort of excitement that way, and it's like, yeah, now you got it with T'Vondre Sweat.
Okay, I remember what you're talking about. I don't remember the prospect, but if I ever hope for a Laremy Tunsil thing, sorry, man, it's for Brock Powers, just so he falls to the Indianapolis Colts. That's it.
Not happening.
Other than that, I will never shut your mouth. Brock Powers, gas mask, you'll be flying high, buddy. Trust me, it's worth it. But anyway, going back to Sweat is the best pure nose tackle in this year's draft. And if you're going to run a 3-4 defense, and this year, I don't know how much longer the 3-4 defense is really bound for this game anymore. That just seems like a very outdated way to play the game, but fuck it. You want to do it, you gotta get a good nose tackle. That is the core. Almost literally the core of that defense is a good nose tackle. Carolina doesn't have that. So even though he was arrested for a DWI, look, I'm that type of guy that's always like, hey, you gotta pay your penance, but at the same time, it's football, and we just got to be real with each other. You got to do what's best for your team. And so if I'm Carolina, I'm looking at that in the nose tackle class, not the defensive tackle, the nose tackle class. And for our YouTube viewers, they see this. I'm going from big inch to very tiny, like half an inch. That nose tackle class is very small this year. So if you want a big guy that'll plug the gaps, Sweat's your best bet. And, he really hasn't had any trouble that we know of outside of that one DWI. So maybe this is just a one-time mistake. But if I'm Carolina, I'm saying fuck it. I'm going for it because I need a big guy to plug pause. I need a big guy to plug the gaps there. I paused.
That was a quick sidestep of that landmine for sure. Otherwise, you would not live to regret that day for sure. Spotty good spots for turns almost with that situation.
Carolina's been having their gaps filled for a while.
So I like that. I think that's very much a receiver, defensive lineman sort of situation here. I flipped it here. So I think at 33, they go with Darius Robinson at 33 as the defensive end out of Missouri. I think, like you said, it's like if they want to put him at the defensive tackle position, they could probably do that. They definitely need to gain him some
for nose tackle, though?
He could, but I think most likely in this situation, if they take him, I think they play him on the outside because, Tad, that Brian Bird straight to the New York Giants, that's trading
so bad.
That's trading a delicious doorstop for a crummy old Danish. Like, that's exactly what type of trade that it was. They got a 39 overall pick, the 166, and 2025 fifth-round pick for Birds and number 141 overall. So, that's a terrible trade in this situation. You need to get a replacement for him. That's where you get Robinson there at 33. And then at 39, I think that's where they go receiver. They get the hometown kid. They get Xavier Leggett out of South Carolina. Big, speedy receiver. I think can add an extra dimension to that offense after Adam Thielen. I don't know if he can replicate the season that he had last year. Hopefully he can, but in case he doesn't, that's I think Leggett can provide some instant production for them in his rookie year. Pair up with Deontay Johnson pretty nicely, so I think I like that situation there. But yeah, if McConkey's there at 33, I 100% like your idea, where it's like you take him at 33 and then you figure out the defensive end, defensive rush, whatever it is at 39. So I can see that happening here, but I got to flip right now because for me, I think McConkey goes in the first round, but we'll see how that all plays out. So
you go red fruit or blue fruit, Danish?
I'm a red fruit guy. That's 100%.
Yeah, I'm with you, buddy.
All right, let's get to the Cleveland Browns. They have the number 54 overall pick in the second round. So what do you think they do with 54 overall?
This is a dream pick for the Cleveland Browns if they can get him at number 54, which also may be this player's number, and that is Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I absolutely love this fit because if you look at Cleveland's depth chart, they have very little linebacker depth at either middle linebacker or outside linebacker. So Trotter fills both of those needs right there. And on top of everything, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. So close.
You had it pretty good, though. You had it pretty good.
Owusu-Koramoah.
No, now you messed it up.
Yeah, Koramoah? Koramoah? Is that how you say it?
Koramoah.
Damn it. Jeremiah. It's all the syllables. That's what's screwing me up.
It is quite a bit.
Jeremiah Owusu.
You just called him the Joker because I think that's what they call him, J-O-K. So
I will conquer his name. This is my Everest.
This is your Everest, not Kira to Mega G.
We will touch on that later.
I so hope he gets drafted in the third round. I definitely want you to say that.
There are so many players this year I'm goddamn terrified of. It's the Yale guy. It's the Penn State guy, Kingsley. That his last name absolutely terrifies me.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm
BYU, not Penn State.
Or BYU. I just saw the Y, but whatever.
No, it's fair.
Yeah. Oh god. All right. So Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Fuck.
No.
Damn it. All right, whatever. The very athletic linebacker out of with the Cleveland Browns. His contract is, if they accept his option, is 2 years out from running up. And I think that he is so versatile, just like Jeremiah Trotter is, that he is going to demand big money. And if Cleveland can't get it done in the playoffs and a contender offers him, he's gone. So Jeremiah Trotter not only fills an immediate need for depth for the Cleveland Browns, but he also potentially finds a good replacement for Jeremiah, over the next 2 years. So I think that this would be like, not every year, but most years in drafts, there's a team without a first round pick where you're still shocked. Like, oh my God, you totally landed the ship on that draft. And if the Browns made their first pick, Trotter, they're well on their way to earning that right.
No, that's fair. I think that's a good pick here. So I think they go defense as well. I think they shore up their defensive line depth, though, because they're also having some issues on their defense.
They're shallow everywhere on defense.
So they have great starting. So it's like that's the reason why Cleveland's defense was so good last year. So it's like they don't have too many holes on their starting defense, but I think they go with the defensive tackle position. I think they go with Chris Jenkins, the defensive tackle out of Michigan. I think he's the type of guy that's like he needs a little bit of time to develop. He can contribute as a rookie, but it's perfect here with Cleveland where it's like I said, they have a good starting situation, but it's like maybe they just need a rotational guy who could develop into a starter. And I think Chris Jenkins landing at Cleveland gives them that perfect situation where it's like he'll be part of the rotational piece in his rookie year, but he has, a little bit of seasoning, learning under Jim Schwartz. I think that's perfect for him, and he'll develop into a full-fledged starter and be a very productive member of that defensive line in a couple seasons. So, yeah, I think that's a good situation. But, yeah, 100% think they need linebacker depth as well. They can also use some secondary depth. They can also use some defensive tackle depth. I think they go with defensive tackle in this situation, but yeah, I can very much see them going to linebacker with Jeremiah Trotter or somebody else, or also going with the corners as well as shoring up the secondary depth as well. So I know you don't want to tap, but there's one more team we need to get to without a first round pick. It is the Houston Texans. They have the number 42 overall pick and then the number 59 overall pick in the second round here. So as much as you don't want to talk about it, what do you think their potential strategy is here?
No, okay, all right. So number 42, this is what they should do, is the Houston Texans select Derek Snell. Do you know who he is? He's the fullback out of Montana State. Now, I'm telling you, fullback is a real weakness for Houston here. And with that, they can open up a lot of holes for Joe Mixon. Derek Snell in the second round, just excellent value.
At least you gave a positive critique there. So I mean, yeah, it's still not good for you because if I'm
gonna use the guy for a joke, I gotta throw him a bone here. But fine. If I'm forced to fucking do this, this would really suck. So basically, I was like, who would I hate the most to go to them? Zach Frazier, the offensive tackle, offensive guard, center out of West Virginia. Knows how he set all three positions because motherfucker can play all three positions.
It's true.
This dude is a mauler. Now, I'm not going to say finesse because finesse requires a little bit of finesse to it.
Sure.
Finacity is not just pure ferociousness, people. There's an art to finacity. But my God, is the suit aggressive. And he has that versatility to play at, any of the 3 or 5 offensive line positions. And the Texans' depth at the offensive line is not great. So you kind of knock out like a 2 birds, 1 stone situation of like, we draft this one guy. If our tackle goes down, he can replace him. If our guard goes down, he can replace him. I don't love Zach Frazier as a center. From so far what I can tell, that may change based off the more of his tape I watch. And then at number 59, they should take Josh Carty, the kicker out of Stanford.
God, really?
Yeah. No, I'm telling you.
That can't be fair, Bear. They have no need for a kicker.
Look,
that joke doesn't even work in this situation.
No. Look,
I could have got on board with
it
the
does.
Pick, but it's like, no.
No. It's really windy in Houston. If they open up the top of that dome, the gust could do it.
Keep it closed, you dingus.
Josh Carty is used to working on the coast where those, California winds are blowing everything to the left. It's, he's used to it. I really think they should take a kicker with their second round pick. It's a good pick. Fine. I hate you. They should take Cameron Kitchens, the safety at Miami.
Oh, that'd be a good pick.
That would be a good pick, and I'll tell you why. It sucks. It's because Jimmy Ward's going to be 33 by the time the season starts, so you need to start looking for a successor. And the big hang-up on Kitchens is going to be, well, he's a huge ball hawk, but he's way too aggressive. He needs to learn how to kind of hang back and be smarter. All very fair criticisms. Well, you know who that sounds a hell of a lot like? The same criticisms I was making about this player when he was in the draft? Jalen Petrie, who is now a fucking star for the Houston Texans at free safety. So you get Petrie at free safety, Kitchens at strong safety, both very super aggressive safeties. I hate my life.
Yeah, that's a perfect scenario for the Houston Texans. The way I lay out at 42, I think they go with defensive tackle. They could use some upgrades on their defensive line here. So I think they go Braden Fisk, the defensive tackle out of Florida State. He's just that good combination of speed as well as power. I think he's a very physical type of defensive tackle that can get good interior pass rush, as well as very good at stopping the run. I think learning under D'Amico Ryans, I think is just a great situation for him. That, very similar to Chris Jenkins, but I think he's got more contributing factors in his rookie season. Braden Fisk does compared to Chris Jenkins. So that's a great upgrade for them at the defensive tackle position. And then on the second pick there in the second round, number 59 overall, you're going to hate me with this one, but I think they go Christian Haynes, the guy out of University of Connecticut.
How dare you? No, how dare you? He has been my favorite draft sleeper for over 3 months now. And this is what you do. This is how you treat me after everything I've done for you? Go fuck yourself.
The Houston Texans have some issues on the interior offensive lines, including their starting offensive lineman there in the interior. So it's like they need an upgrade. I think Christian Haynes is very much, like you said, a very good sleeper in this year's draft class. He could be a plug-and-play starter right there in week 1. You land him at 59. I think that's great value as well. And they get an upgrade over what they currently have. And just like, you got the good tackles there with Titus Howard and Laramie Tunsil, but you need to upgrade the interior offensive line. Getting Christian Haynes here, that just gives you, like you were joking about with Snell, this gives them that sort of physicality that they need to open up holes with Joe Mixon, or make sure that CJ Stroud does not have an Anthony Richardson sort of situation where he gets hurt.
Oh, come on. Like, you guys, how dare you?
But yeah, I think they go Braden Fisk, a defensive tackle at 42, then Christian Haynes, the offensive guard out of Connecticut at 59 overall. Because, yeah, the rest of their roster, I'm sorry, buddy, but they have a pretty complete roster. It's like this would sort of just shore up the few holes that they do have.
You go straight to hell.
I'm sorry, but you can't deny that those are 2 good picks.
Straight to hell. How dare you? Not only do you put my favorite draft sleeper with Houston, but then you gotta throw in the fact that my quarterback is still hurt.
Yeah.
You go fuck yourself.
It worked out nicely.
You know what? No. Don't even go to hell. Just go fuck yourself.
All right, let's close out this topic then. Let's move on to, we're talking about Christian Haynes. Let's talk about Christian Haynes and some of our favorite sleepers in this year's draft. So we covered a lot of positions on the podcast here, and we're obviously dropping all of our position graphics for every single position from this year's draft class. So let's sort of get to the just other sleepers that we have in this year's draft class. So, I mean, let's sort of just, whoever you got, what sleeper do you have? Just give me another sleeper from this year's draft class that you're pretty psyched about.
I've been saving this one. I've purposely not been saying this guy's name, not to be a homer. But like you said, we're only a couple days away, and now it's time for me to be full homer, baby.
Okay, go for it.
Josh Newton. And
I am a fan of Josh Newton. I am a fan of Josh Newton.
I will share a story with our viewers and listeners. You were catching up on the combine about a week after the combine. Yes, I was out one night, and you texted me. It was just like, oh, I love this corner. Guess who? And I just go, oh, it's Newton. It was like, how'd you know? I'm just like, because I know he's good. And it was awesome. Like, in the second you were like, oh, this corner looks really good, I'm like, it's Newton.
Yeah.
I've been singing his praises since last August, and he is good. Should he be a first rounder? Absolutely not. He had the potential to get there if he had a good season, but much like the TCU team in general, it was just a very down year. And I think he's suffering because of that, scouts are kind of looking at the year TCU had and just being like, oh, no one from that team's very good, which is wrong. TCU has three very solid draft prospects, and Newton's at the top of the list of those three. He reminds me, and again, this is not my pro comp, it's just the closest kind of situation. It'll make more sense once I go through it, but he reminds me a lot of Trayvon Diggs, where he's not good in specific man-to-man coverage. He's not very good. He needs a lot of work in that area, but he is awesome in press coverage. Off the snap, he can jam up a receiver very, very well. In zone coverage, forget about it. He may be a top 3 corner in zone coverage in this year's draft. He is so good. And this is where the Diggs thing comes in, because I'm like, he's a really good corner, but really only good in the zone, and that's Trayvon Diggs. That's why he's the most overrated corner in the league, in my opinion, because is Trayvon Diggs a top 5 corner? No. But is he a very solid starting corner if you know how to use him? Yes. And so I think that Josh Newton, if he goes to a zone-heavy scheme, will be one of the best steals of this year's draft. He is a very physical, very fast, very all-around solid corner who just lacks that man-to-man coverage to really be a top-tier corner. But if he goes to a team that can develop that, he could end up being the next Richard Sherman, being a mid-round pick that really ends up being like, oh, this physical, like really aggressive, kind of mouthy corner. And I love when corners talk trash, and Josh Newton does that a lot. Watch back in the Fiesta Bowl against Michigan. He really pissed off those Michigan guys, and it was awesome. So, like, Josh Newton, the cornerback at TCU, I absolutely love him. Some team's going to draft him 3rd, 4th, God forbid, 5th round, and he's going to be a steal for them. Remember, wouldn't be a bad replacement for Jason Verrett.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Oh, good God. Oh, God. Do you want me to filibuster there for a bit?
A little bit. No, you're good. You're good. Jason Verrett, I mean, he was such a sensational player. Unfortunately, couldn't get over the injuries. But yeah, Josh Newton, when I was watching about the combine, that's exactly what you said. It's just, I was like, there's a corner that I'm watching here that I just absolutely love. Like, I'm surprised I haven't heard about it before. And yeah, very instantly, you're just like Josh Newton. I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. There's a lot to like about him. Very underrated prospect. I think exactly like you said with TCU, just not having the same season that they had compared to a couple seasons ago. And so, yeah, I think he could be a steal in that sort of mid rounds there, 3rd, possibly 4th round. I can see. I don't know if I can see him.
I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked. Maybe like late half of the 2nd round. That still feels a little soon for him.
It's a possibility, but I think just unfortunately, I think he may slide a little bit.
He's the perfect
further.
3rd rounder. He's the perfect 3rd rounder. But
3rd round, I can see it happening.
I have an irrational fear of him slipping out of the 4th round, going all the way to the 5th. But I was having that irrational fear last year about everyone. But then the Rams, took the Rams and Chargers both took like every TCU player in the first 3 rounds. So
it's true. But yeah, Josh Newton, huge fan of his for sure. So I very much like that sleeper. I'm going to go the tight end position, and I'm going to go with the Michigan transfer, Eric All, who is now a member of the Iowa Hawkeyes. And I mean,
tight end university.
Really was that?
Tight end university.
No, exactly. It's like, do we need to say this every year? But just like, never underestimate an Iowa tight end. Like we saw what Sam Laporta did. I think he was like a lot of people's 4th or 5th round tight end prospect in last year's draft class. I think me and you had him that low, I think, at some point too, but just absolutely blew up. He's got that good combination of receiving skills. He developed the blocking skills, but just, yeah, same thing with Eric All. He's very much a receiving tight end right now. He's a little bit unpolished compared to some other Iowa prospects that have come out, like a Sam Laporta, like a George Kittle, like a TJ Hawkinson or Noah Fant. So I think that's why he's obviously going to go a lot later this year's draft class. But I think, like you said, tight end university. He's got all the skills. He's got all the traits that you want. And you know that you can develop him as well. So yeah, even if you get him in the later rounds, I think this is a guy that can 100% become a full-fledged starter for your team because he has a very good receiving skills. Like I said, he's a very, he presents a very good catching radius. So not only does he have that good body to turn around, but he can also contort. He can make a lot of great gaps with his hands. So it just gives your quarterback a sort of wide margin of error when he's throwing this direction. That's like, okay, I can sort of get away with this pass because I know Eric All can sort of catch it there. Like I said, he is more of a receiving threat right now than a blocking threat. So he does need to build up a little bit more mass and work on his technique a little bit to become a blocking tight end. But like I said, Iowa tight ends, they have that innate ability to sort of develop and become solid tight ends at the next level. So I don't doubt that Eric All can sort of fall into that same class as well. So yeah, not as big or physical as some of the other tight ends. That's why he's going to go a lot later. But like I said, you see that Iowa Hawkeye helmet on him, you're going to be like, okay, this is a guy that I like, and I think he can develop strong into the NFL. So yeah, he is one of my favorite sleepers this year.
All right, I got a challenge for you. You ready?
Let's hear it.
I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Name as many tight ends as you can that went to Iowa. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
TJ Hawkinson, Noah Fant, George Kittle, Owen Daniels, Sam Laporta.
Time! How dare you, sir? You left out the best one of all time.
Dallas Clark.
Yeah,
sorry. But clearly, based on my kicker rapid fire, just like I sort of blank out when it comes to that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But man, like
a lot of great ones
across multiple coaches too. It's not like a coaching thing. It's just it's weird.
Yeah, but exactly. So that's why he's one of my favorite sleepers to come up in this year's draft class, along with Josh Newton. That's a very good pick for sure. So, all right, Ted, we're going to close out this episode, talking about a big thing here, because in our next episode, we're going to be doing our NFL mock draft. So, I mean, we're not going to be doing much discussion about the actual draft itself, and then we'll be doing a live stream. So let's get into it here. Let's talk about your favorite bold prediction from this year's draft. What do you think is going to be a hot take, a bold prediction from this year's draft when it's all said and done?
I kind of dropped a little hint that I think this would happen a couple weeks ago, but I'm going full in on this. Okay. I think my boldest NFL draft prediction, where I'm going to laugh and say I told you so if it happens, where Buffalo Bills trade up to number 9 with the Chicago Bears to select whatever receiver falls throughout the top 10. I think Malik Nabers or Rome Odunze, one of them is going to fall out of the top 10. Or close to out of the top 10. I think Buffalo, understanding you are a win-now franchise, you have no time to waste, will give up a fair amount of draft capital to move up into the top 10 to get someone like that. I'll release a little bit of a spoiler alert. On LAFB Network, we had a mock draft between a bunch of writers of ours, and myself as the Colts, I traded back into the first round to take a receiver specifically to jump the Buffalo Bills. Everyone knows the Bills need a receiver. That is their biggest need. They lost Gabe Davis. They lost Stephon Diggs. They need a receiver. They're not going to get they can get a good one, but you're not going to get a true number 1 that Josh Allen needs in the 20s. It is not that good of a class. So you have to, make some big time moves. So I think a second this year, a fourth next year, a fourth this year. By the way, they have 2 fourths this year, so they have 1 to burn. And a couple picks next year. You can trade up with the Chicago, who, as I mentioned earlier in this episode, is very hungry for draft picks next year. So that's a whole temptation with Buffalo. You don't need to give up a lot this year. Throw them 3 picks next year. Chicago is going to be very tempted to take that. So it would not surprise me. Do not be surprised if maybe it's not number 9, but basically my bold prediction is Buffalo is going to be.
You just said it's definitely going to be number 9. Then you're just like Chicago, and I was like, who else is going to be at number 9?
I had the Bears on the mind. My bad. But do not be surprised if the Buffalo Bears are going to be big. I had to do it. But if the Buffalo Bills are big movers in the draft, I think they are a very interesting team to look out for that not a lot of people are talking about.
No, that's a very bold prediction for sure. I like it, though, because, like you said, the Bills sort of need a premier number 1 receiver now. Yeah,
look, exactly. You're running out of time.
Yeah, I mean, we went through their receiver room before already, where it's like they signed Curtis Samuel, they have Khalil Shakir, so just like outside of that, they signed Mac Hollins, excuse me, so just like, yeah, they don't have
no, well,
a
all
lot
right,
of
never
premier...
mind then. If they got Mac Hollins, just no, never mind.
But just, yeah, exactly, just it's not that enticing of a group, especially with that trade of Stephon Diggs to the Houston Texans, and then, yeah, letting Gabe Davis walk in free agency to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars, so it's just like, you need an upgrade there, so yeah, I can very much see that being in play to trade up to get that premier guy, Malik Nabers, Rome Odunze, maybe they go all the way to 4 with the Arizona Cardinals. They get Marvin Harrison Jr. That would be how wild it can be. It's a possibility because, like we talked about, Arizona needs a lot of help. So it's like, don't put that out of the possibility.
And honestly, honest to God, if I was Buffalo, I know we're kind of laughing about it. If I'm the Buffalo GM, I'm kind of thinking about that because, like,
you have to think about it. You have to think about it.
I mean, you're Buffalo, dude. Like, you got it. This is the best the franchise has been in 30 years. Like, you got it, and you just semi-blew. I feel like the Bills are kind of playing out how I played Madden. Of like, I'm gonna blow up this roster, and I hope to God I can just have 4 first-round picks just to like replace everyone I just traded.
Yeah,
and it's like, but at a certain point, maybe you actually do that. Maybe you do that in real life because the Chiefs aren't getting anywhere. They may be a new city, but they're not getting any worse. So it's like you gotta do something.
No, that's fair. That's fair. So yeah, Buffalo
Chiefs has a ring to it. Just saying.
Buffalo Bills definitely trading up. I think that's a very possibility and a very high likely scenario that could happen for sure. So I'm going to go with my bold prediction here, Tad. I'm going to say the first running back off the board in this year's draft will not happen until the 3rd round. So we will not have a single running back taken in the 1st round or the 2nd round. So all you got to do is just look at last year. We had 2 in the 1st round. Defend yourself,
sir.
In the 1st round last year, we had 2 first-round picks. We had Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs. But then if you look at the 2nd round, we only had 1 pick. Quick pop quiz,
and
Tad.
Jahmyr Gibbs was a reach.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, exactly.
We were all hating on that pick at the time.
It's true. In the 2nd round, we only had 1 pick, number 52 overall. Tad, really quick pop quiz. Do you know who that running back and which team?
Yeah, because it was one of the most confusing picks of the draft. It was Zach Charbonnet.
By
Seattle. Hence why it was confusing because we're like, you have Kenneth Walker. I remember
it's true. It was a very surprising pick. It's 100%. I was big. It sort of came out of left field. So we only had 1 pick in the 2nd round there. Now let's jump back to 2022. We had 3 running backs taken in the 2nd round, none in the 1st round. So who do you think? So in 2022, we had 3 running backs taken in the 2nd round. And in 2021, we also only had 1 running back taken in that round. So who do you think was drafted at the 35th overall pick in the 2021 NFL draft in the 2nd round? I'll give you a hint. I'm a huge fan of his.
Okay. In terms of school or in terms of like where he went to school or team or because I think I know actually that was a pretty big hint.
Yeah, it's a pretty big hint. I'm giving you.
Can I have the team? On this one. Can I have the team?
The team that drafted him?
Yes.
Well, that will obviously give it away.
Can I have the college?
I think the college will give it away too.
All right, Javonte Williams.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Javonte Williams at 35 overall was the only running back taken in the 2nd round in 2021. So, like we talked about, Ted, this year's draft class is good, but I don't think there's any prospect that you could value higher than some of the other position groups in this year's draft class that has a lot more talent at the top of their respective position group, right? So I think there's just going to be higher value associated with some of these other position groups to take some depth at those positions before we see a running back even being valued. Now, I know we sort of talked about this before when we did our running back episode. That's like Dallas could very much be in play. They could take a Jonathan Brooks. They could take a Braylon Allen, what have you, Trey Brenton on Florida State. But I also think that they could use some other help, especially with Leighton Vander Esch retiring. I know they could use some help on their defensive line, their defensive front 7, I should say specifically. I really just think that some of those teams that possibly could take a running back in the 2nd round, I think they may look to address other positions because we have stronger depth at the very top of those other position groups that they could value those positions a little bit more than the running back position. And like we talked about, we had a very good running back free agency class. So I think lots of teams filled out their running back rooms with the free agent class. So it's like, yeah, we have very few teams that have a high priority to take a running back. So I think, with a strong edge class this year, a strong cornerback class this year, and a strong wide receiver class this year, if you're looking to just fill up those positions, may take more importance than the running back. So yeah, this could be a situation where it's like, yeah, like I said, no running back is taken until the 3rd round.
Buddy, I got 5 words for you. Jerry Jones. Hold on. I got 3 more left.
I think you left it there. I think it's perfectly fine.
Well, yeah,
but let's hear the other.
Let's hear the other 3. But this further reinforces that point. Jonathan Brooks. You want to guess what the 5th one is?
No, give it to me.
Texas.
No, exactly.
Like,
I think that's
Jerry Jones boner for having a Texas star on the Dallas Cowboys. It's going to outweigh any logic because you threw out some very good logic there. I completely agree with everything you said, where especially it's just, and we've been having this discussion for what feels like the past decade, where is running back still even that valuable of a position? Where alone a 1st rounder, is it worth a 2nd rounder?
Yeah.
Because you can just switch them out so easily. And of course, this is terrible that we're talking about humans this way, but hey, that's football. But it's one of those things, like, I completely agree with you with all that logic. But if you look at the Cowboys running back depth chart, I mean, we ran through, the wide receiver depth charts of, 2 different teams tonight. It's pretty bad. The Cowboys running back depth chart's pretty sad. Nothing gets Deuce Vaughn. You're not a number 1 guy. So I think the Cowboys is the big stick in your hot take here. But if this does happen, this is one hell of a I told you so.
Yeah, exactly. Just really quickly to read off their current depth chart at the running back position. They have Rico Dowdle, Deuce Vaughn.
Sad.
They just recently signed Royce Freeman.
Sadder.
Malik Davis, and then Snoop Connor.
Who the fuck is Snoop Connor? Is that Snoop Dogg's son?
I don't think so. But yeah, no, I 100% agree. Like I said, the
John Connor and Snoop Dogg had a kid.
The Dallas Cowboys are the biggest crux for sure to take a potential running back in the 2nd round. But just like I said, I think they could use some help elsewhere, so they won't prioritize the running back. But yeah, like you said, I think just the Texas aspect, bringing a homegrown kid to be the running back for the Dallas Cowboys, I can see that being a very likely possibility. But that's the reason why they say to call it a bold prediction. It's like I could see a very good situation where it's like it doesn't happen.
GM.
Exactly. So
I literally had one of my students looked at me and because he was asking me, he was like, "What did the Cowboys do in the draft?" And I was kind of telling him my realistic expectations. And it went on for about 10 minutes. I'm not even kidding. This 14-year-old kid looked at me and just goes, "Can Jerry Jones die already?"
Oh, geez. Yeah. We'll see how it all plays out. But guys, that was
a Cowboys fan.
All right, but that will close out the episode there. Going through some fun topics here right before we get to our mock draft episode and the final episode. I mean, not the final episode, but the episode for the live stream here, doing NFL Draft Quick Hits. All right, guys, so that'll close out the episode here. And I mean, yeah, like we talked about, we're going to do our mock draft episode coming up this coming episode here. Then we got the live stream. So, I mean, guys, we're going to heavily promote it. We want you guys to tune in. We'll be live streaming on YouTube, so interact with us. It'll be live streaming on all our social media channels as well as a few LAFB channels as well. So I mean, just check it out. Even if you got a little bit of time, you don't have to watch the first 3 hours or whatever it is on day 1, and then the 4 hours or whatever it is on day 2. It's like, even if you could join us for a little bit, especially just when your team picks and you want some instant analysis as far as what you think your team is going to do, and then what they eventually do pick and which players they actually do end up selecting.
You're avoiding saying doo-doo there.
Of course I was. Yeah, you sniffed that one out pretty well for sure. But just giving us that opportunity. We want to give you the instant analysis. Whatever sort of advice you need or questions that you have, interact with us. That's why we're doing the live stream, that we can give you all of that right as it's happening. Follow us on our social media handles. I mean, we're dropping all the position graphics. That's where you can find our live stream, when that's happening. So you got me at Undecided 23, you got Tad at Tad Side 94, you got the show handle at The Decide Guys, and of course on Instagram at The Decide Guys as well. So interact with us before the draft starts. You can ask us your questions then, and of course when we're doing the draft live stream, interact with us during that time as well. Like Tad teased earlier, we did a mock draft across some LAFB writers here. That's going to be posted on the website hopefully at the beginning of the week, so you can check out what we did there as far as the first round is concerned. Make sure you're supporting them, because without them, guys, there would be no us. So they're giving you a lot of great content when it comes to the Rams and the Chargers at the professional level, and the Bruins and the Trojans at the college level. So lots of great content coming from them. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to all of our podcasts wherever you're listening to it. And guys, just any way that you're supporting us, whether you're listening to the podcast, watching the videos, interact with us on social media, I mean, just anything and everything that you're doing, we can't thank you enough.
And just to promote the live stream just one more time is look, it's going to be, why should you watch the live stream? over the actual draft, right? Like, why should you tune in to us instead of ESPN or NFL Network? Well, first off, NFL Network is apparently going bust, so that's reason number one. But number two is, I asked myself the same thing when all these like live, like, oh, watch the national championship with all these coaches and stuff like that. It's because you get that experience of watching with friends. You get very real reactions. You get very, very real emotions. Just go back last year and watch when the Colts took Anthony Richardson, a reaction I now regret, but at the same time, it was funny nonetheless. So it's kind of, we have fun with it. You get very real reaction. You don't get like, well, this guy has a high motor and blah, 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 blah. You don't get all the, ticky-tack bullshit you're used to.
This is a terrible pick. We will tell you it's a terrible pick.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. And so that's why. It's like you're watching with a bunch of friends. Yeah. And so we would love to invite you to that party. Come on over. Even if you don't watch for the entire thing, trust us. We get it. It's 4 hours. But just come for a little bit. Ask a question. Drop it in the chat. We'd be more than happy to have some fun with you guys. So I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for the live stream. And like Amir said, keep listening and keep watching because our final mock draft drops in just, about 72 hours from now. So I can't wait to share it with you guys. I can't wait to share the live stream with you guys. It's going to be a ton of fun. So as always, everyone, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And please stay safe.